Have you ever stared at a question and thought, I know the right answer to this, but all of the possible answers are wrong? It's probably because you don't understand where things live in an insurance policy, and that's what today's call is all about. We're going to be breaking down the different parts of a property and casualty policy. Be sure to stay till the end because we're going to test ourselves using questions, the most common questions that I've seen in all of the state exams that I've taken. Now, I'm Ashley Flint. I've taken and passed over 20 different state insurance exams. Not because I had to, but because personally, I'm on a mission to be the best insurance licensing instructor, coach, and tutor in the industry. I aim to understand these exams better than the test makers themselves. If you're interested in private tutoring or structured study packages, please shoot me an email at info@imagineinsuranceconcepts.com. I offer a guaranteed pass or your money back program with my personalized tutoring. The declarations page is the nosiest part of an insurance contract. It asks all the right questions. I want you to start calling the declarations page the who, what, where, when, and how much. It asks who the named insured is. What is the description of the property? And if we're talking about commercial, what is the description of the business? Where is the property located? When is the effective date and the terms? How much is going to be the limits of liability, the premium payments, and any applicable deductibles? If you're looking for names, addresses, policy period, limits, deductibles, this is where you go. If the question asks, where do you find the limits of liability? Declarations. If it asks, where do you find the effective date of the policy? Declarations. Conditions are the rules and obligations of both the insured and the insurer. This is where you're going to find things like duties after a loss, appraisal, cancellation, non-renewal, loss settlement procedures. If the question asks how disputes are resolved, that's conditions. Appraisal, conditions. Notice of loss, conditions. Conditions answers the question, what needs to happen for coverage to continue or for coverage to be paid out? Now let's talk about the insuring agreement. The insuring agreement is the insurance company's pinky promise that they will pay, and it also identifies the perils that are covered. If there's no insuring agreement, there is no coverage, period. When a question asks, where's the company's promise to pay found, that is always the insuring agreement, not the conditions. If the question is using language like promise or agrees to pay or coverage applies when, think insuring agreement. The exclusions tells you what is not covered. They take coverage away. They don't give coverage. If it's excluded, it doesn't matter that it feels unfair. Any question that says omits, removes, does not apply, I always want you to think exclusions. Exclusions always win unless an endorsement gives coverage back. While there are some universal exclusions like intentional acts, war, wear and tear, illegal activities, every policy comes with its own exclusions. For example, flood is an exclusion under dwelling and homeowners, but it is not an exclusion under auto. Now I'd like to talk about something that we really only see on our commercial package policies, and that is an interline endorsement. Now it's important that you understand how commercial package policies work. A CPP is not a policy in itself, but I want you to think of it rather like a container. And in this container, you've got your crime coverage form, your business and personal property form, commercial auto, all the different coverages that your business needs. The interline endorsement is going to make sure that you're not repeating coverage and that if you make an update to your coverage, you're making an update to all of your coverages. If you only have one coverage form on a commercial package policy, you would not use an interline endorsement, but rather a monoline endorsement. Now that we've learned where things live in an insurance policy, let's test ourselves. A company's promise to pay for damage caused by or resulting from any covered cause of loss would be found in which of the following sections of a commercial property policy? Take a guess at what you think the correct answer is. If you guessed the insuring agreement, you are absolutely correct. The insuring agreement is the promise to pay and the perils that are covered. Now let's take a look at another question. The procedure for resolving a disagreement between an insured and an insurer about a loss is described in which of the following parts of an insurance policy? Take a guess at what you think the correct answer is. If you guess the conditions, you are absolutely correct. The conditions are the rules and duties. Now we're on our third question. Which of the following terms can be defined as a policy provision that omits certain risks from coverage? Again, take a guess at what you think the correct answer is. And if you guessed exclusions, you are absolutely correct. The exclusions tells us what is not covered in an insurance policy. Finally, we are on our last question. Where would you find the limits of liability? The limits of liability is always found in the declarations page. Remember, the declarations is the who, what, where, when, and how much.